হ্যাঁ টাকা অর্জন করবো জিজ্ঞেস করুন
প্রথম মিটিংটা কি হবে হ্যালো হুম
দেখতে পাচ্ছেন
হ্যালো
হ্যালো
দাসগুপ্তদা
ইয়েস ইয়েস
শুনতে পাচ্ছেন আমাকে?
হ্যাঁ শুনতে পাচ্ছি
কেমন আছেন?
হ্যাঁ ভালো
কটায় প্রোগ্রাম শুরু?
এই তো
শুরু হয়ে গেছে? আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে। না আমি অবশ্য থাকতে পারছি না, কারণ একটা অন্য কাজে আমি এখন আমাকে চলে যেতে হচ্ছে। থ্যাংক ইউ, উইশ ইউ অল দ্য সাকসেস।
থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ
ঠিক আছে, ওভার এন্ড আউট। আমি অন্য কাজে চলে যাচ্ছি।
একটু বলে প্রেজেন্ট করবো
Sir has already joined. Yes. Secretary नहीं.
So good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, audible.
Yeah. So namaskar and good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I will like to express my sincere thanks to the Secretary IMS and other dignitaries of IMS for organizing our second webinar. As of now, participation is not bad. Already 42 people have joined. So I will invite Mr. Alay Kumar Dasgupta, our retired colleagues and experts in the field of aviation, particularly the aviation services in the airports, that what we are providing. So I will take not much time, just invite our honorable speaker, Mr. Alay Dasgupta, to upload his presentation. I think time is 45 minutes for presentation and 15 minutes we have a question answer session. So Tikara, please monitor if there are few students from our IMS Kolkata chapter. Let them allow few questions, because other people, I think most of the people of our department only, so they may be aware of all these things. So let the students be asked the question. They may be allowed to ask questions. Then Sharma Sahab, namaskar. I'm Shottobroto and then Lala. So Karmokar, Shubhendu, thank you all for creating this beautiful flare this time.
Thank you, sir.
And I think our YouTube, that live streaming is on right now. Is it so?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, so right now we have enough spare, only 47. So other people can join through directly Google Meet. If it is more than that, then people can access through our YouTube link also for live streaming also. And I request Tikarai to preserve all these YouTube webinar, whatever we are doing, and keep it in our IMS Kolkata website, IMS Kolkata chapter website in the link, so that in future also people can get access and listen. TK Chakraborty, how are you, sir? Hello, sir.
I am passing.
Passing. Okay, sir. Long.
Enjoying your speaking.
Yeah. অনেক দিন বাদ আপনাকে দেখলাম, ভালো লাগছে।
হ্যাঁ, বাড়িতে খবর পেলাম। বাড়িতে তো আসলে এইসব যন্ত্রপাতি ছিল না, যন্ত্রপাতি আসতে বলে
হ্যাঁ, এটা যন্ত্রপাতির জোগাড় ছিল, মানে একটু যা সাজিয়ে নিতে হলো সবাইকে।
যাই হোক, আপনি কেমন আছেন?
আছি, ভালো আছি। চলুন আগে শুনে নি আমরা, শুনে পরে একটু গল্প করব আমরা।
ঠিকই আছে।
So, Mr. Dasgupta, now you can proceed and start your presentation first. And I request all of you, other than the speaker, please mute your microphone. Other than speaker. ফোনটা মিউট, এটা মিউট করুন।
Thank you very much. Should I resume now?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Respected Chairman, IMS Kolkata chapter, Dr. Sanjeev Bandyopadhyay sir, Secretary, Joint Secretary, and honorable and distinguished persons attending this webinar, and other guests, and particularly Mr. T.K. Chakraborty sir, he is also present. I am very glad to have him in the seminar. Okay. Now,
Can I mute করুন?
I am glad to have been invited to present a lecture on aviation from this platform. Thanks to Dr. Bandyopadhyay sir, because it is his guidance that I have taken up this subject. Now, as far as aviation meteorological service is concerned, this services actually, there are many departments or organizations working at airports. Say, for example, customs are there, then other airlines officers are there, Bureau of Civil Aviation Security is there, DGCA is there. But the organizations which are responsible for operation of the aircrafts, namely AAI, that is the Airport Authority of India, and India Meteorological Department, and Air Traffic Management of AAI and their communication wing. These departments are directly responsible for aircraft operation. Now, so far as our services is concerned, we are providing services as regards to weather. What are the weather conditions prevailing over the runway and adjacent areas and in the FIR also. So let me first tell you what is FIR. It is not police FIR, very sorry, it is FIR stands for Flight Information Region. So Indian airspace, as far as meteorological convention, it has been divided into 4 FIRs. That is Kolkata FIR, Mumbai FIR, Chennai FIR, and Delhi FIR. So these 4 FIRs have the responsibility of that particular region. As for example, Kolkata FIR is responsible for eastern states, including northeastern states and some parts of Bay of Bengal. Likewise, Mumbai FIR, they are responsible for the states of Maharashtra and adjacent areas, including that Arabian Sea. Chennai for southern region and Delhi for northern region. So these are the 4 FIRs we have. Now, next slide. So meteorological services, what we are doing at the airport, just headlines, because time is very short. I have to cover up within this specified time, 45 minutes or something. So which is very, very difficult because aviation is very large. As far as aviation meteorology is concerned at airport, so many services are providing, but each and everything, every detailed discussion may not be possible within this 45 minutes. So I will try to give brief outline of each and every events. First of all, as you see in the slide, meteorological services airport is intended for operational need of the aircraft. See, aircraft are commercial aircrafts, military aircrafts, private airlines. And second one, the most important one, we are working for the safety of the aircraft and passengers. Then simultaneously, we cater the needs of VVIP and VIP flights. Next, we are trying our best to avoid diversions. Diversions means whenever some flights coming from some long distance, say from Delhi over to Calcutta, and it could not land for some weather events or something, it is to divert to some other alternate airport. So here a lot of harassment plus fuel efficiency is concerned. So that we try our best to avoid. So diversion avoidance means it's a great success for the Met Department. And we are doing it. We are proudly saying that people at the airports are doing that service. And next one is saving aviation fuel and time. So these are the basic services we are providing. At the same time, the trainee pilots are there, gliders are there. So we also provide them services for flying. Now, coordination with AI, ATC, communication wing on various matters of importance, aviation matters. And at the same time, ATC officers, the ATC officers which are working, that is job training we are providing from our CATC, Bamrauli, Allahabad. Besides, so many university students also come and we impart them lectures and all these things. Airlines officials many times request, including the military personnel, they request for meteorological training and we used to provide them on a short-term basis or on the basis of lecture or demonstration. Next slide. So coming back to my subject, that is services rendered. So aircraft operation, it has been divided into 3 phases. Takeoff phase, then cruising phase, then landing phase. Takeoff, cruising, and landing. So these are the 3 phases for an aircraft going from one airport to another. Suppose an aircraft is on the runway, it is ready to departure. So what service it needs? So they want some specific services for flying, takeoff. So they want to know, pilots want to know what are the conditions over the runway. particularly what is the wind condition, what are the temperature conditions, and what is the visibility condition. Moreover, I will display you in some format here. These messages we are giving in the form of some specific format in coded language. We call it METAR, METAR, which stands for Meteorological Aviation Report. So this Meteorological Aviation Report, next slide. Meteorological Aviation Report is a slide you can see. So METAR BECC 190600Z 23012 RA FU 015, like this. So many coded information is there. This is called METAR. So this METAR, our personnel working at airports, they issue every half hour. The contents of this METAR, right? Contents of this METAR, first is wind. What is the wind prevailing over the runway? So why do pilot needs wind? Because pilot wants to take off or landing against the prevailing wind. Why against the prevailing wind? Because it wants lift. Lifting aid will be there from the wind if it moves against the wind. So what is the wind prevailing over the runway? That is important. During takeoff or during landing. So wind, what is coming against, that is called headwind. And if the wind is blowing from behind, we call it tailwind. So headwind and tailwind. So there may not be every time headwind and tailwind persisting because wind is variable. Wind may be crosswinds. It may come from any other side. So crosswind is also important. Crosswind, what it does. So if the strong crosswinds blows over the runway, say 15 knots or 20 knots or 25 knots, then it deviates the aircraft from the center line until and unless the aircraft is forward. Now go to upper atmosphere at about 12.1 kilometer or above. So what we'll find in the northern latitude, around 30° north latitude, we find a jet stream, JET, jet. Jet stream, we call it is jet wind only when the wind speed exceeds or equals to 30 MPS, 30 MPS. If we convert in nautical miles per hour, it comes to about 58 nautical miles per hour. Approximately, we can say 60 knots. So 60 knots or more, we call it jet wind. So in the upper atmosphere, in the subtropical height, that is STWJ, we call subtropical jet, this high wind speed of the order of 60, more than that, 100, 120 knots are available. So what aircrafts are very much, actually I should say, they are very much greedy to have those flying through jet wind. Because if they fly through the jet wind, suppose jet wind is blowing from west to east, and if an aircraft is moving from west to east, it takes the advantages of tailwind. So it saves their fuel as well as time. So many times we have seen in the airport, and you might have also seen that aircraft ETA, means estimated time of arrival, is sometime, suppose it is 0900 AM. It has landed at least half an hour or 20 minutes before that. means it has taken the help of jet wind. So jet wind in that sense, it is helpful. If the aircraft uses it as a tailwind, but when it is headwind, the opposite situation takes place. Now, 1 minute. Am I audible to everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Achha. So, next group, what we report is the visibility. Visibility is a very demanding situation at airports because visibility is used for landing as well as takeoff. So many a times, suppose a passenger checked in and then goes to your departure lounge. Sometimes announcement was made that flight has been delayed due to poor visibility or bad weather. So it is my personal experience also. I have seen the passengers peep through the window and say, oh, visibility, why there is poor visibility? We can see at least 2 kilometers to 3 kilometers. So problem arises then. So problem means actually they do not understand what is the term visibility means. So visibility is the distance. One can see a particular thing very clearly and distinguish it from surrounding objects. Because pilot wants to see the object very clearly. So very clearly seen and seen, there is a difference. So one may see 3 kilometers or 4 kilometers, but distinctly visible, it may be 2 kilometers or something. So we cannot compromise the situation because of the safety of the passengers is involved. So visibility, reduction of visibility may be taken up due to so many factors. So if in our Kolkata airport, visibility is mainly reduced due to fog, mist, smoke. And we have a clear distinction of fog, mist, and haze. So fog means visibility should be 1 kilometer or less with relative humidity 75%. And as far as mist reporting is concerned, mist should be more than 1 kilometer visibility and relative humidity should be 75%. And if the relative humidity is below 75%, we cannot report mist or fog. It should be reported in terms of haze. So these are the three criteria. Then heavy shower or thunder shower. In other airports, dust storm also. Heavy snowfall. These also reduces the visibility over the runway. Now, runway visibility is reduced, means we have to be very alert in reporting the situation because landing, takeoff, everything is involved with visibility. Although we have instruments over runway called transmissometers, these instruments are installed at 3 different places, one each at every end of the runway and one is at middle of the runway, mid-runway. So we are getting the visibility report automatically from the runway. So this is called RVR. RVR, that is runway visual range. Runway visual range and visibility, there is a difference. Runway visual range is defined as the distance a pilot can see over the mark, over sitting on his cockpit. He can see how much distance he can see over the runway. Means he can see the markings on the runway. This is RVR. So whenever visibility is 1500 meter or less, then reporting of RVR, additional reporting of RVR is mandatory. Runway visual range. So, many times you might have seen that ILS operation is taking place due to poor visibility. ILS means instrumental landing system. So instrumental landing system is guided by ATC radar, so they can land even at visibility of 350 meter or something. But thing is that who will decide that visibility is 350 meter or 400 meter or 800? It is our department that issues advisory. The visibility whenever it is touching 1200 meter and it may go down below 800 meter or less, then immediately we issue advisory to ATC. Then only ILS operation takes place. So ILS operation, it's a bit longer procedure, means all the airports has to be cordoned off. No vehicular traffic will be allowed except the emergency vehicles. So first of all, it becomes the duty of the Met Department to report the visibility most accurately, because the ILS operation will be involved in the process. The visibility, whenever it is 1200 meter and it is likely to fall below 800 meter, we issue advisories accordingly. So this is one part of visibility. Next, this we report cloud condition also. What are the cloud conditions over the runway? Not only over the runway, in the vicinity of the runway also. Vicinity means, definition is very clear. What is vicinity of the airport? Means centering the airport 5 nautical miles around, approximately 8 kilometers or something. What are the clouds prevailing over the vicinity or runway? So all clouds may not pose problems for the aircraft, but whenever there is stratus cloud, that is sheet-like cloud, it is blowing at a very low height, 350 feet, 400 feet, or some 500 feet, 600 feet. And it is a sheet-like, moving very fast. So pilot, whenever it wants to land, it cannot see the runway from above. Number one. It may be cumulonimbus clouds. So cumulonimbus clouds is very hazardous for the aviation. Why it is hazardous? Because cumulonimbus clouds inside, there is strong updrafts, that is updrafts, downdrafts, updrafts, downdrafts, turbulence is there. Severe lightning is there. And hail is there. So hail can damage their windscreen and lightning can damage their communication system with the control tower. And updraft, severe updraft, downdraft, this is turbulence. Turbulence can throw away the aircraft from its flight path. So we have to locate where the cumulonimbus clouds are there, what is its vertical extension, and in which direction it is there. So aircraft has to avoid those routes. Next group, what we reporting? Temperature. Temperature has also significance. We all know that temperature is inversely proportional to density. So more is the temperature, density over the runway will be less. Now, aircraft has to take lift or lifting aid within the specified distance of the runway. runway may be 3 kilometer and 3.5 kilometer, 3.9 kilometer or something like that. So runway length is limited. Aircraft has to run over it and get the necessary lift for takeoff. Now, if it is density over the runway is less, aircraft finds it very difficult to get the lifting in. So we are reporting temperature over the runway. And on earlier occasions, I have seen that whenever temperature rises to 47 degree or 48 degree at some airports where the runway length is small, aircraft operation gets totally suspended. Now, I have missed one point actually, that is fog formation over runway. So for the formation of fog, we know that actually I have given all this information over the slides. You can go through it. The interested persons, IMD persons know fully well what is happening, what is fog, why, what, but others, particularly the students, may not be knowing all these things. So they may go through the slides what I have written over there. Now, fog condition, whenever fog has to take place, the wind should be calm or very light. This is the first and foremost condition. There should not be strong wind. Strong wind disperses the fog. So light wind or calm wind also is necessary for formation of fog. And as far as relative humidity is concerned, relative humidity should be 75% or more. And third condition is moisture should be available. Until and unless moisture is available, there is no chance of getting fog. And other conditions are also there, shallow layer of ground inversion. So it also helps in the formation of fog. Now, principally, if we take to our eastern airports and all these things, so advection fog and radiation fog are very important. Advection fog and radiation fog. And this advection fog and radiation fog mainly associated with the passage of western disturbance. So western disturbance, as we know, it has its origin over Mediterranean Sea, Caspian Sea, Black Sea, and it travels from west to east along higher latitudes of India, northern latitudes, around 30 degrees, 32 degrees north latitude. So its latitude is not fixed with the season, it changes also position. Now, whenever western disturbance approaches from this Mediterranean Sea, then Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and finally to India, the approach sign is very clear. One can easily understand it because this is a phenomenon mainly in the winter months. Of course, in December and other months also it is prevalent, but in monsoon months it goes above the far away from the Himalayas, so we cannot have those feeling of western disturbances. In winter months, this is very prominent. So, approach sign of western disturbance, we can easily guess that something is coming disturbance, because normally in the winter months, northerly winds, that is northerly components of winds are prevailing, north, northeast, or northwest. Now, as soon as this comes, disturbance comes, western disturbance, the first sign is wind changes from northerly counterparts to southerly counterparts, means south, southeast, or southwest, something like that. So whenever wind changes, south or southeast, then it brings moisture to the radius. And moreover, other signs also you will find that temperature, there is a rise of temperature, rise of minimum temperature, pressure will fall down, and appearance of clouds. First, you will find cirrus cloud, then followed by medium cloud, and whenever western disturbances over the station, there is low clouds and rain and all these things. Then it passes away. So before the western disturbance comes over the station, because of the changes of wind pattern, there is likelihood of formation of advection fog. Advection fog is near the coastal and nearby areas, not deep interior, because moisture cannot go in the interior, very interior side. So advection fog, the term advection is horizontal transportation of air mass. So during winter, ground becomes cold. Then this air mass from the sea surfaces, it comes over the cold ground surface, leading to advection fog. Whenever western disturbance over the station, it gives rain and thunderstorm, and then it passes away. So it releases a lot of moisture during its passage. So what happens after the passage? The wind again becomes northerly, northwesterly, gradually, not suddenly. Gradually it becomes northwesterly, and then cold wind invades. So due to these cold winds and availability of moisture, the radiation fog takes place. So radiation fog takes place over entire northern latitudes. It affects Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, even West Bengal and Northeast. So a large area comes under the envelope of radiation fog. So whenever this fog takes place, many times total suspension of aircraft operation takes place until and unless fog is lifted. So fog lifting is also very nice. Whenever fog lifts from below, so whenever it lifting, then it forms a status cloud. So again that problem, status cloud means pilot cannot see the runway from above. So until and unless fog fully disappears, visibility cannot improve. So vertical visibility is also a headache to the aircraft. Now I'll show you a slide. Next. Nimbus clouds. So I have given image of some cumulonimbus clouds. The lightning sign is there. Immediately after that, we have a radar imagery of squall lines. Please see the corresponding slides, that squall lines. It's a long line of echoes. These squall lines and broken line of echoes, there is a difference. So squall lines means it's a continuous line. Cluster of CVs are there all over the line. And color is also reddish color, means it is mature CV, cumulonimbus clouds, covering a wide area. Whenever these squall lines is observed on weather radar, pilot should immediately be warned in the form of one special messages, we call it SIGMET messages, because a large area has been affected. So aircraft has to avoid that route because it is a vertical extension also. So everything will be associated to that updraft, downdraft, turbulence, heat, lighting. So lighting is also a major drawback for the aircraft operation. So there is also a clear distinction between the broken line of echoes and squall line of echoes. Squall lines we report only when the length is minimum length should be 60 kilometers. and length to width ratio should be 10:1. Only when, and it should be a continuous line of echoes. Only then we have to report squall lines. Otherwise, it should be reported as broken line of echoes. Whatever be the condition, squall lines or broken line of echoes for the aviators, this is very much risky. And that's why they needs to be forewarned. Next, another important aspect is we are reporting QNH and QFE. In the meter code, QNH and QFE. QNH is the atmospheric pressure, barometric pressure, reduced to mean sea level under ICAO condition. So barometric pressure reduced to mean sea level is QNH, and QFE, this barometric pressure reduced to runway reference level. So why do we do so? Why do we report it? Because all aircraft, whenever it is moving, they have been given a number called flight level 300, flight level 320. For each and every aircraft, this is given, flight level. So flight level 300 means it has to be multiplied by 100, it is 30,000 feet. So flight level 250 means 250 into 100, this is 25,000 feet. So aircraft flight level means cruising level. Flight has to maintain that level while cruising 25,000 feet or 30,000 feet. So how it is done? They have the altimeter, they set the QNH values and get the necessary altitude from mean sea level. So all aircrafts uses the mean sea level wherever it is in our country or in foreign countries anywhere. So altitude means from mean sea level. So QNH has to be set in their altimeter to get the height of the aircraft and to maintain the flight level. So every time they have to take the QNH from the stations wherever they are passing and set on their altimeter to get the height of the aircraft. And QNH is also required for vertical separation between the aircrafts. Otherwise, two aircrafts may collide each other. And third, it is also used for terrain clearance. Next, each meter is appended with a trained forecast. What will happen in the next 2 hours? Condition, what is the probability of events that may take place within the next 2 hours? So in every matter, it is also reported. We called it trained forecast. So this is a coded message meter. This is all about meter. It is transmitted to pilots and various user agencies by the communication wing of AI. So pilot should know the condition of the runway, not only this runway, wherever he is going, that runway information he should also have. So communication system of AI, they have special channel or frequency which broadcast this message time to time so that pilot can intercept those messages. And next forecast, what we are issued apart from METAR is TAF, Terminal Aerodrome Forecast. So I have given a sample message also. The Terminal Aerodrome Forecast is issued for a particular runway about the runway condition and its vicinity that may take place within some specific hours. So there are two kinds of actually terminal aerodrome forecast. One is national terminal aerodrome forecast. We call it national TAF, and one for the use by international flights, that is international TAF. So validity is different. Validity one is 9-hour validity period for the use by national flights, and for international flights, it is 30-hour validity period because it is coming from such a long distance. So their validity period is more. So 9-hour validity or 30-hour validity. In 9-hour validity period of terminal aerodrome forecast, we are issuing every 3 hourly, whereas for the international TAFs, it is issued every 6 hourly. So what is the purpose of issuing these TAFs? TAF indicates what will be the position within the next 9 hours over the aerodrome. So they can, airlines, they can use it as a flight planning, load capacity, and how much fuel it has to carry. So that is the purpose of the issuing TAF. They know beforehand what may be the condition, what is the present condition, and what will be the condition after 9 hours or within next 30 hours. So this is the utility of TAF. Next bulletin, what we use is aerodrome warning. So aerodrome warning, that is issued whenever the situation occurs. Situation means aerodrome warning is actually intended to for the aircrafts which are parked on the runway. So light aircrafts are there, and then heavy aircrafts like Boeing are also parked over the airport. So light, whenever this situation arises, whenever heavy thunderstorm or tropical cyclone or heavy dust storm or wind when rises to some 30 knots or squall or anything, we have to issue aerodrome warning. So it is immediately passed to airport manager so that he can take the precautionary measures for light aircraft standing on the runway. Otherwise, these winds can damage their wings and all these things. So early warning system has to be given to aerodrome manager for taking necessary precautions. This is called aerodrome warning. So time is very short. I have to hurry up. Next, what we are doing, this aerodrome warning, then SIGMET warning. SIGMET warning is issued for a particular FIR. So what are the changes, serious changes that is changes taking place in the whole FIR, flight information region? Whether there is development of thundercloud or any other thing, that entire situation, weather situation, over the FIR is reported in the SIGMET messages, so that aircraft, while cruising, they can have this information and take necessary precautions. So these SIGMET messages we are issuing whenever the situation arises with a validity period of 4 hours. And next, wind shear. Wind shear is also very important in the sense that, so whenever downdrafts comes from CB, then wind changes. High wind speed in different direction moves. So suppose one aircraft is approaching to land over the runway, and CB is there, and downdrafts means, suppose it is easterly wind, it is approaching with the easterly wind, and it landed on the runway, and after landing, it finds that wind suddenly changes from easterly wind to just opposite westerly wind. So there is a big problem for him for adjustment against. He's coming with the easterly wind, now faces westerly wind. So it may lead to serious problem. Problem means if he finds tailwind afterwards, so it may overshoot the runway, or if headwind while landing, so it may also may not touch the touchdown zone, what is called touchdown zone. It may lose the touchdown zone. So both ways it is problem. The runway and 1,000 feet above, this zone is very important for wind shear activities. Wind shear means there is change in the direction of the wind as well as speed. So direction of the, if aircraft gets a homogeneous wind right from top of 1,000 feet to runway level, if it is steady components, then it's good. But after descending some 300 feet or something, if he finds westerly wind components with high speed, then there is a problem of adjustment. And this is called actually wind shear. So wind shear is an important thing, and wind shear has to be reported to the pilot whenever situation arises. Whenever such appearance of wind shear is reported by pilots, we immediately warn the next aircrafts about the possibilities of wind shear. Now, CAT, clear air turbulence. Clear air turbulence in the upper level, on the tropospheric level, where jet stream is located. So because of the differences of wind speed, clear air turbulence takes place. So clear air turbulence, pilot doesn't know whether it is cumulative. There is no cumulonimbus cloud or anything, but turbulence is there. This is called clear air turbulence. So clear air turbulence gives a lot of discomfort in the passengers because they will find a bumpiness. So announcement were immediately made sometimes in the board of the flight that passengers are requested to fasten their seat belts because we are passing through CAT. CAT means clear air turbulence. So what we do, we pinpoint on the chart given to the pilots, CAT, position of the CAT and area, we mark it and hand over it to the pilot. And another thing is briefing to the pilot. So, Mr. Tikarai, time left for me, how many minutes?
Yes, sir. It is quite interesting. So you continue, please.
Okay. So in the question hour also I will discuss whatever questions you have. Next, briefing and documentation. Pilot has to be briefed about the en route condition. So en route condition means whether CB, cumulonimbus cloud is there, where clear air turbulence is there, then what are the wind positions, whether it is strong jet wind or in which direction it is blowing, and what is the speed of the wind. Every details of the facts, even the temperature of the cruising level. So all details have to be given to you in the form of documentation. So we hand over a lot of papers whenever pilot or their representative comes to our briefing office. Our officers, what they do, they prepare the entire route chart and present it to the pilot. So our motive behind is for the safety of the aircraft and passengers. So one thing I am telling you that working in the airport, Not only in airport, everywhere, dedication is there. So airport working is something different. Different means, suppose in QNH, somebody reports 1 milliwatt difference in reporting. So instead of reporting 1000 HPA, he has reported 1002 HPA by mistake or by casual approach or something like that. Error has been committed in respect of QNH. So he has made an error of 2 HPA. 2 HPA corresponds to about 60 feet. So there is a difference of 60 feet. So for a flight which is moving, it has to maintain a certain altitude. The 60 feet difference is a very dangerous thing. It may collide with some other aircraft which is coming on the way. So everybody has to work very carefully, and people at the airports, they are very sincere and doing the work very effectively. If it is not, if anything happens, incident or accident happens, then वो बहुत तो परेशानी हो जाता है. Then an inquiry commission takes place, and we have to rush to the inquiry commission. So whose fault it is? Is it the fault of ATC? Is it the fault of Met Department? Or so बहुत भाग दौड़ हो जाता है. This is the problem whenever accident takes place, and it hurts the sentiment also. I am working, but for my mistake, such mishap has taken place. So nobody is doing that. Everybody is very sincerely working at the airport, but keeping in mind of the safety of the aircraft and passengers. Now briefing has been done in 2 ways. So we have OLBS, that is online briefing system. So online briefing system, pilot can have this information online. So no need to come. But for the purpose of documentation, means handing over papers and route details of everything, handing over charts, necessary chart, temperature charts, wind chart, and condition of the cruising level, all details has to be given to the pilots or their representative in the form of documentation folders. So that is also mandatory. Now come to BBIP and VIP flights. Then whenever BBIP comes over the aircraft, so everybody has to take extra care. Why extra care? Because it is the question of BBIP. Then IAF, that is Indian Air Force, they have also their small Med division. So in the IAF, Med division also comes into picture. So we have to work in very close coordination with AAI, that is ATC, Communication Wing, Indian Air Force, and after all the BBIP pilots also. So BBIP pilots, he used to come to the Met office and other briefing offices also. He takes all the information, including the information obtained for helicopters and all this. Helicopter is a low flying aircraft, whereas Boeing is a high flying. So all those informations has to be pinpointedly given to the pilots of the BBIP aircraft. So this is roughly, I have given you some idea about our functioning at airports. And see the slides. Show me the slides. Hello, actually, I might have given you some brief outline of the major activities of our department, what is doing at the airport. I have missed so many other points also. a detailed discussion may not be possible. Already I have taken 1 hour. And so I am going for the question hour if our chairman permits.
Thank you, Mr. Dasgupta, for your presentation. If anybody having any question, we can ask.
Sir, myself, Professor Satpati.
Yes.
Yes, it is a very nice lecture and I have learned a lot. I have 2 questions. One is, suppose when the aircrafts cross the major oceans, say over the Pacific or Atlantic, so how during the cruising, how the information on the clouds and this all these turbulences and all that is conveyed to the pilots, or how they take the decisions.
Okay.
Another one is lot of accidents actually takes place in the helicopters. One of the speaker of Lok Sabha, he was killed, Balajogi, and also the chief minister of Arunachal Pradesh, he was also killed by helicopter accident. So why the helicopters and smaller aircrafts that actually come across accidents, not the very large ones?
Okay. Coming to your first point, that is while flying through Pacific Ocean and everywhere, other areas also, we have our jurisdiction of Indian airspace. But as far as specific flying is concerned, of flying over the Pacific Ocean, we have WAFC London. So they prepare chart for the whole world, the temperature chart, wind chart, and everything. So they use the data from all over the stations, and they process it, prepare the respective charts, and send to every country. So those products are used by the flyers over the Pacific Oceans. And as regards to accidents of helicopter is a low flying aircraft. So I don't know whether it is army helicopters or IAF helicopters. So sometimes what happens in remote areas when helicopters are moving, so they might not have taken the full briefing from the meteorological side, or this lack of information, what I say. So I have also personally interacted with so many IAF officials. They have to go very deep into it, where this Met Office or ATC services are not available. Immediately on, suppose some war-like situation or flood-like situation, they have to go to some remote areas without knowing the condition of the prevailing winds over the areas. Not only winds, temperature, presence of cumulonimbus clouds, and all this thing. So it may be one of the causes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other thing? Anybody? Anybody else?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Air pockets, you can also mention that in the terrain areas or the hilly areas because of the air pockets.
Right. Particularly in the leeward side, when wind dispense and due to rough surfaces of the terrain, turbulence is developed. And these are mainly found in northeast areas.
So that's why the helicopter accident might have been caused due to this.
Maybe.
Sir, another question. Suppose earlier the airport areas were... Yes, sir. So earlier in the airport areas, particularly in the metropolitan or near metropolitan cities, the high-rise buildings were in absent. But nowadays, on both sides, they are coming up. So is there any possibility of tunneling effect on winds that will increase the wind speed or change the wind behavior, and that may lead to some adverse consequence on the handling of the takeoff or landing?
No, see, I'm talking about your Kolkata airport. So you have seen the Kolkata airport. It is north-south oriented, 010 degree and 190 degree. So 01 and 90. So it is almost running parallel to Jessore Road. So
Yes.
there is a problem. Jessore Road, whenever westerly wind blows, then a lot of dust comes over the runway. So making this hazy condition over the runway. This is one problem actually. Runway parallel to Jessore Road is also almost parallel to the runway. So a lot of vehicles are running all through, not only day, all through the night also. This Jessore Road traffic is very much remains high over there. So tall buildings means it will obstruct the wind. So obstruction of wind, what happened? Suppose strong wind is blowing and there is some obstruction. So wind will get obstructed and it will create turbulence also. So turbulence also you can feel when there is some obstruction of near the runway.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Is there any question from anybody? Hello. So if there is no questions, thank you, Mr. Dashgupta, for your nice presentation and subsequently the answer of the questions of Dr. Shatpati. So I think we will close now. But before closing, I have some issues that I want to discuss with Dr. Shatpati and Madam Sharda Mandal. I think she's there.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the last webinar, it was proposed to have some webinar on the matters that is in the syllabus of the geography students of the university, so that students can get interest to have participates in these webinars. So Dr. Shatpati, have anything you required for the students, particularly the chapters which are in syllabus? Because normally what we are dealing in the webinar, there is the operational activity what IMD is doing. So it is required, but it may not be helpful in the academic pursuits of the students. So if you are interested that something which is in the syllabus and IMD is dealing with that also, then we can cover that part also, so that people, particularly students, can participate in large number, and we can issue a certificate also to them that they have participated. It may help them to at least a certificate that I have participated so many seminars of IMD, and can write in their CV also in subsequent times. So anything, any requirement of this sort, you are in the university?
Yes. We are going to send you a list of at least 4 or 5 topics within the next week. Okay, so that you can prepare.
I have one request. Okay, excuse me. I have one request. You prepare two, three topic, particularly where IMD is dealing. Okay.
Yes. Surely.
Number one. Second is that send me the name of the students of 20 from each college or university, or 30, so around about 60-70 students, their Gmail ID and their WhatsApp number, so that we can take up that particular topic in a webinar and intimate all those students and get them involved in the webinar, along with the faculty members of the college and university, apart from the IMS members, those who are already here.
Sure, sir. Sure. This is a very good suggestion.
This is one thing. Subsequently, what I am trying, the ones we have involved the students in this webinar, then TK Rai, are you there? TK Rai, Shubhendu? Yeah, those who are in the IMS executive committee or volunteers, they have to regularly send mail to those participants to become the life member of the IMS. This is the one of the ultimate objective of the IMS also, because once you are an organization, you have to increase the membership. So until or unless you give something to the students, they will not be interested to become a member of your organization. So first you invite them in a webinar, the topic which is related with their syllabus, create interest among the students, and then definitely you approach the students to become the member of the IMS. So what I feel that if we can involve the 60 students from 3 different colleges and university, and subsequently we can approach them, I hope with the help of Dr. Shatpathy and Madam Shraddha Mandal, at least we get 20 odd life members of IMS Kolkata chapter. So this is a process, and slowly we have to increase the membership number of our IMS Kolkata chapter, because if this is also required quantitatively, because for any organization to flourish, you need both the things. You have to have arrange a very good qualitative webinar, all those things together, but you need people also to listen your topics and lectures, and particularly the young people, the students, we have to involve them. So this is my suggestions, and I hope that with the good coordination between Dr. Shatpathy and Madam and our TKRI and team, we will be able to organize the next at least one webinar for the students within a gap of 10-15 days or so.
Sure.
Thank you very much, sir. I have already sent the syllabus, the part of the climatology or atmospheric science, which we deal in the undergraduate and postgraduate section. I have sent this section of our syllabus to Torun Kanti Rai, and হ্যাঁ আমি প্রফেসর সৎপতির সঙ্গে বসে নেব। আসলে আইএমডি এর ঠিক অপারেশনাল কি কি কাজ হয় সে বিষয়ে আমার অতটা ক্লিয়ার ধারণা নেই। আমি ওনাদের সঙ্গে কথা বলে নেব।
ম্যাডাম, আপনি আপনার রিকোয়ারমেন্টটা পাঠান, যেগুলোতে আমরা স্বচ্ছন্দ বোধ করব নিয়ে নেব, যেটাতে আমরা ডিল করি।
হ্যাঁ, আমি অলরেডি তরুণ কান্তি রায় স্যারকে আমি পাঠিয়ে দিয়েছি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে।
সারদা, আমাদের যতগুলো পিজি কলেজ আছে,
হ্যাঁ,
আটটা পিজি কলেজকে আমরা ইনভলভ করি ফ্যাকাল্টিদের সঙ্গে কথা বলে, যাতে করে 8টা পিজি কলেজে আমাদের প্রায় এবং ইউনিভার্সিটি ডিপার্টমেন্ট মিলিয়ে প্রায় 300 স্টুডেন্ট আছে টোটাল। এই 300 স্টুডেন্টের যদি আমরা 1/4 কেও ইনিশিয়ালি মানে ইনভলভ করতে পারি, তাহলে আমাদের অনেকটাই ছড়িয়ে যাবে, তাই না?
হ্যাঁ।
আর 1 মিনিট।
হ্যাঁ। আমি এই ওয়েবিনার চলাকালীনই আপনাকে সেন্ড করেছি, ওই জন্য আপনি দেখেননি। আপনি দেখে নেবেন, আমি পাঠিয়ে দিয়েছি।
এবং ডক্টর সৎপতি এবং ম্যাডাম মন্ডল, একটু দুটো জিনিস যেটা বললাম, যে একটা ইনভলভমেন্ট অফ স্টুডেন্টস, এবং আপনারা যারা ফ্যাকাল্টি মেম্বার আছেন বিভিন্ন কলেজ এবং ইউনিভার্সিটিতে, যেমন লাস্ট টাইম আমরা ডক্টর সৎপতির ওখানে একটা কলকাতা সাব চ্যাপ্টার খুলেছিলাম বোধহয়, তাই তো?
হ্যাঁ।
তো তাতে বেশ কিছু ফ্যাকাল্টি মেম্বার্স আমাদের আইএমএস কলকাতা চ্যাপ্টারে পার্টিসিপেট করেছিলেন। ফলে সেই সাব চ্যাপ্টারের পক্ষ থেকেও আপনারাও যদি একটু মানে পার্সু করেন, যে কিছু স্টুডেন্ট বিশেষ করে অ্যাটলিস্ট যারা এমএসসি এবং পিএইচডি বা রিসার্চ এইসব করছেন, তারা যদি আমাদের এই চ্যাপ্টারে পার্টিসিপেট করেন, মানে কলকাতা চ্যাপ্টার নাম্বার 1। সেকেন্ড হচ্ছে যে ফ্যাকাল্টি মেম্বারদের আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করছি আইএমএস এর তরফ থেকে, তারা যাতে তার কোনো টপিকের উপর লেকচার দেন। ঠিক আছে, ধরুন আমরা হয়তো আপনাদের সিলেবাস অনুযায়ী বললাম, কিন্তু আমাদের খুব সত্যি কথা যেটা হচ্ছে বেশি করি আমরা এখন অপারেশনাল ডিউটি, মানে আর ইউনিভার্সিটি বা কলেজগুলোতে হয়তো একটু থিওরিটিক্যাল অ্যাসপেক্ট বেশি পড়ানো হয়। তো সেক্ষেত্রে আমার মনে হয় সবসময় যে কেউ আইএমএস এর যে কোনো মেম্বার ইজ ওয়েলকাম টু গিভ লেকচার্স। তো আপনারাও যদি দুজন অন্তত নাম প্রপোজ করেন যে আপনাদের ওখান থেকে যদি কেউ কোনো কিছুর উপরে বলতে চান, দেন তাহলে কি হবে, নাহলে ধরুন শুধুই যদি আইএমডি এক্স আইএমডি বা ওই 2-4 জন মিলে আমরা বলতে থাকি, তাহলে কিন্তু এটা ছড়াবে না। ইট ইজ বেটার হ্যাঁ, তো ন্যাচারালি কলেজ বা ইউনিভার্সিটিতে যে টিচাররা আছেন তাদেরকেও একটু বলুন, যারা আমাদের মেম্বার বা ইনভাইটেড হিসেবেও কাউকে আনতে পারেন, সবসময় যে বলতে গেলে মেম্বার হতে হবে তা নয়। হ্যাঁ, যদি কেউ এই ওয়েবিনারে পার্টিসিপেট করতে চায়, যেটা স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য কাজে লাগবে, ইউনিভার্সিটির লোকেদের বলছি, স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য কাজে লাগবে, এবং স্টুডেন্টদেরকে আমাদেরকে এই যে প্ল্যাটফর্মের মধ্যে যত পারা যায় আস্তে আস্তে করে ইনভলভ করতে হবে। তার কারণ মেজরিটি অফ দ্য এক্সিস্টিং IMS মেম্বার হচ্ছে রিটায়ার্ড IMD এমপ্লয়ি অর উই পিপল উই আর ভেরি ওল্ড পিপল। একটু অল্প বয়সী লোকেদের কিন্তু এই অর্গানাইজেশনটার মধ্যে ইনভলভ করানো, তার ফলে কিন্তু অর্গানাইজেশনটা একটু বাড়বে গায়ে। শুধু তো কোয়ালিটি ঠিক আছে, কিন্তু একটু কোয়ান্টিটিরও মনে হয় দরকার আছে। তার কারণ আলটিমেটলি যখন এইসব বিপদ কেটে যাবে, আমরা যখন ফিজিক্যালি কোনো কিছু করতে যাব, তখন কিন্তু পয়সা লাগবে, এবং ফিনান্সিয়াল কন্ডিশন অফ দ্য IMS কলকাতা চ্যাপ্টার খুব ভালো নয়। সেটা তখনই সম্ভব যদি আমাদের মেম্বারশিপ আমরা একটু বেশি পরিমাণে বাড়াতে পারি। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ অল ফর listening patiently. Thank you once again, Mr. Dasgupta, because you have a very lot of experience in the aviation sector and have done excellent job while you were in service in the airport at Kolkata in different portfolio. So I hope this creates at least interest to the other people, those who do not belong to IMD, know the services provided by IMD, because most of the people have the knowledge that IMD is providing service for day-to-day forecast, but this aviation sector, this is the only sector we are getting revenue, because most of the other sectors, say, though we are providing weather and climate service, but we have a very specific demand. One is the aviation sector, definitely the monsoon is second, third is the cyclone, because we have these oceans and three sides. So all other sectors we are providing the service free of cost. This is the only sector we are getting some revenue, and this is very much important for us also, because with that revenue we can give free service to other sectors. So thank you all. Thank you Dasgupta again, TK Rai, Shubhendu, Lala, those who have tried hard very for creating these flyers and other programs. And thank you the daughter of Dasgupta also for assisting me in presenting the slides and other things. Bolun. TK Rai, before announcing, you please discuss with me and whether Anirban is here. Acha, you specifically discuss with first Devdeep whether here.
Yes.
What
Yes, sir, I have
discussion?
discussed.
What point?
Point I have already, sir, submitted. That is unknown Antarctica and India.
No, see, just a minute, please listen. Please listen. So,
okay.
Anirban, please mute. I am not talking about that. You talk to Devdeep whether he needs any permission from the ministry to share the photographs and everything of Antarctica to the common people or not. Number one. Because at one time I was of the opinion, or I was of the knowledge that it was restricted to share all the photos, videos of